party tonight! TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else!
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes!
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson at Blurnsville.
Futurama!
Good evening. You are listening to a Rattlegion Broadcasting Premier Podcast TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified Mr. Mark Rattledge. And tonight, our favorite show is WWE Clash of the Champions 2020, brought to you by the good people at the WWE and the Amway Center. The tagline for this event was Gold Rush. Oh, those cheeky devils. Speaking of cheeky devils, joining me tonight are the Podsmen. First, from the Cosmic Treadmill, Mr. Chris Sheehan. How do you do, sir?
Hey, very well. Hope this reaches everyone well as well. Well, it's funny going into this show because you have these shows sometimes that show, or actually pretty often that show up, where you have absolutely no expectation, and there seem to be zero in the way of stakes. So outside of maybe one match. So I wonder if we'll be, happily surprised, or if we'll just it'll be just like an episode of Raw. I wonder how we're going to feel at the end of this.
We're going to feel like big chiefs. We're going to feel like we're at the head of the table.
Recognize me.
Oh boy, we're going to have some fun talking about that. Speaking of some fun right now, ladies and gentlemen from the Superblog team up, it's Chris Bailey. How do you do?
How do I do? Let me tell you something. We are the Podsmen. We are the best wrestling coverage on the W2M network. I'm fired up. We're going to be talking Clash of Champions, so this ain't going to be like some snowflake, Wade Keller, Dave Meltzer review, or some co-host that has marbles in his mouth and can't talk. Hell no! This is great coverage. I'm fired up and ready to talk some WWE, baby.
All right. Well, we'll start off with the kickoff match, Cesaro and Shinsuke versus the Lucha House Party. What of this I saw? The Lucha House Party went up, they went down, they flew all over the place. Cesaro and Shinsuke hit them hard and hit them often. And they retained their titles at 10 minutes and 45 seconds on the kickoff. Mr. Sheehan, did you actually see this match?
I did not. And I actually made a note to go back and try to watch the kickoff to experience it, but I forgot.
How about you, Bailey?
Doesn't sound like I missed much.
How about you, Bailey?
Yes, sir. I certainly did watch the show, or watch this particular match. So I don't know what they're doing with Lucha House Party. So they got this whole dissension in the ranks angle going on here. Standard fare for the most part. But I don't know where they're going. The right team won. You had Shinsuke and poor old Cesaro win. Apparently, the Lucha House Party are not impressing Vince McMahon. They had a match last week on SmackDown, and he was on the verge of pulling the plug on all their match and their careers. So I don't know what this says about these guys, but if I was both parties, I would be sweating right now if I was thinking about my future endeavors. Let's put it that way. And I think there could be no better time with a draft coming to maybe freshen up some of these acts right here. So looking forward to seeing what's coming. This one was okay, actually, not bad at all. I mean, some good action here.
Well, I don't think he'll fire Nakamura, and Nakamura is just happy, doing whatever, collecting a check, going surfing, from what I've been told. And if Cesaro got fired, he would show up right behind Miro on All Elite Wrestling talking about, I'll give you a brass ring, you son of a bitch. So
Cesaro, Shinsuke is that guy you see on those commercials for like Zoom meetings. So he's that guy who makes it look like he's at the office or at the gym. Meanwhile, he's at the beach with the surfboard. Can't wait to get Vince off the phone, and way to go. So
yeah. I
think we got several people here. Cesaro seems super inspired despite his lack of push, and I don't really understand it. But, this guy is, in spite of where he is on the card, he still delivers every single time. Shinsuke is, rolling with the motion of the sea, my friend. He could care less, but he's collecting that paycheck. Yep. And Lucha House Party always put on a good thing, but, they're interchangeable ponds in an AEW ocean, brother.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the Lucha House Party is going to find itself off any kind of main roster television and end up on like 205 Live or on NXT, you know, intermixed with whoever the cruiserweight champion is. I can't imagine they're going to spend too much more time on the any kind of main roster television.
Can't imagine it. Nope. Gots to go. Suckers gots to go.
Indeed. All right, so we started off our main card with nearly a half an hour of Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles trying to murder one another.
Oh, boy, you're not wrong.
Holy cow. This ladder match was freaking brutal. Some of these guys, like, took falls off the ladders that, you know, I know the commentator's supposed to make you think, like, you know, it looks worse than it really is. But, I mean, the one spot that Jeff Hardy took, where he tumbled off the top rope and the ladder fell on top of him, I was like, why? Yeah, this man, I'll get you guys' thoughts in just a second. I like the fact that Sami Zayn won. I like him as a heel. I like him being obnoxious. And so it's good to see, you know, even though he took all that time off during the pandemic, it's good to see that he's not being punished necessarily. You know, AJ Styles doesn't need a belt. Jeff Hardy doesn't really need a belt. I thought it was pretty ingenious as a heel for him to handcuff them. And handcuffing Jeff, you know, when you carve out your earlobe and you put one of those rings in there, you deserve to have it handcuffed to ladders. Jesus Christ. But I love this match. I thought this was probably one of the best matches of the night. What did you think, Sheehan?
I thought it was a great car crash of a match. Not the sort of ladder match that we see very often anymore. It seems like they're much more methodical with the last several ladder matches we've seen, where it's basically rearranging furniture for a while and then putting each other through it. This felt a lot more chaotic, which I think was to its benefit. I think you were dead on with Sammy being the one of the three that would best benefit from having the title. And I'm surprised we haven't seen somebody... like, handcuffs are not something we see in ladder matches, and I'm surprised because it's actually pretty ingenious, and it really helps get him over as a slimy heel and tells the story. I thought that was really well done. The whole match was a hell of a way to kick off the show. I really enjoyed it.
So, Bailey, do you remember when Sammy Guevara threw the chair like a spear at Matt Hardy?
Yes.
And
yes,
he
sir.
broke his nose in the process?
I do.
There was a similar thing here where somebody threw like a small ladder at somebody else and threw it like a spear. And I'm like, why? What the hell are you doing? Like,
this thing was built on shock value. I'm telling you right now.
Wrestling's a work. Damn it, wrestling's a work. Stop trying to hurt one another.
Well, I tell you what, when you stick Jeff Hardy in the middle of a ladder and toss him over the ropes, you know, we got some problems here. I mean, there were stunts here I have not seen. You talk about innovation, but dangerous innovation. This match had it all. I mean, handcuffing Jeff Hardy's ear to a ladder. Think about that for a second. His ear, which had a giant hole in it, and like Mark said, you know, to hell with all those people who go around with those stupid holes in your ear because this is what you friggin' deserve. So you get handcuffed to a ladder and you get tossed to your death, and that's basically what was going on here. This was a, I mean, it's not fair to call it a train wreck because it was just an absolute destruction. I mean, these guys felt like they were out for blood. AJ, I think, got a little bit lost in the mud in the background. You know what I mean? He did a couple big spots, but it was mostly the Jeff Hardy Sammy show here for the most part. And believe it or not, it was good to see Sami Zayn back on TV because I actually missed him for whatever reason. I don't know, but these guys pulled off a really, really strong match, and what an opener for this card, man! WWE on fire, baby, but killing each other. So there you go.
Yeah, I wonder if like they had the conversation before. They were like, what can we do to make our ladder match special? What, you know, and one of them had to have just said, well, let's murder one another.
I think Jeff Hardy is back in that space where he's like, I'm going to steal the show. You know what I mean? We haven't really seen that of him back in the day. Remember when he was just on the verge of winning the world championship? And these guys were, I mean, he was killing himself in the ring in solo matches. And he's back in that place, man. I don't know how much more this guy's body can take, but he's swinging for the fences here, bro.
Yes, he was. All right, the next match was little Zelina Vega versus Asuka. She was not ready for Asuka. Asuka whooped her ass and beat her in 7 minutes, 5 seconds. And at the end, they tried to do a sign of respect, but Zelina Vega got some of her heat back when she kicked Asuka in the belly and then powdered out of the ring. Good for her. Zelina Vega, for the longest time, just being the manager of Andrade and then Hector Garza, Christian's favorite wrestler. She was one of the more interesting people on Raw, and now she's getting a push as a singles. And I think this was just the right amount of time. They were in and out before she could do something really bad, and it's hard to have a bad match with Asuka. So, this was good for what it was, and the right person definitely went over Chris Bailey.
Yeah, you're not wrong here, but Zelina Vega is a very small woman, and I mean to the point where TLC might be scheduling a reality show around this person. I mean, this is a small woman, and like you said, Asuka pretty well dominated her. She had a little tiny streak there, but she got some offense on the outside of the ring. But made her tap out. It was the right decision. I think it went. How long did this go? 7 minutes or so? How long was this?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah. It's probably 5 minutes too long, but it was definitely serviceable. Zelina Vega, I mean, she is a good wrestler. I mean, she did the TNA deal before WWE, so she's got a bit of seasoning behind her. This is not somebody who's tumbling and fumbling like poor old. Who were the two girls on Raw this week? Oh my Lord, they had a train wreck of a match.
Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke.
Holy cow, Mark, if you have not seen Raw this week, check out the Mandy Rose match. Okay. It sets the women's movement back 20 years. It is that terrible. really bad.
Pretty bad.
This match was short, it was fun, and you had a tap out finish. So, good for them, man. She was not ready for Asuka in no way, shape, or form.
What'd you think there, Sheehan?
I probably would have enjoyed it more if in the past week and a half we didn't see it 3 times. This match we've seen it on Raw for the past 2 weeks and on a pay-per-view. I'm so tired of that. It just seems like so many of our matches are being repeated over and over and over again, to the point where I can't even tell you which match I'm talking about, because there was a match between these two where Zelina messed up like 5 moves in a row. I don't know if it was this match. I don't know if it was one of the Raw matches. It was one of the matches. But at this point, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. It's the same match. Asuka taps her out all 3 times. But I guess it was serviceable. I feel like this is leading to a babyface turn for Zelina. I think they're going to push her as an underdog, probably in the Casey Catanzaro or whatever the hell her name is sort of mold, but with someone that they can trust on the main roster. I do. I think they can make her sympathetic. I mean, TNA almost made her sympathetic on accident, by talking about how she lost like her father or uncle in 9/11, and then had her be a heel the rest of the night. But
well done, TNA.
Isn't that great? But I think there are big things in store for Zelina. I think she will be pushed as a babyface before long. Even Asuka showing her like begrudging respect before the swerve was something. I think it's baby steps, but they're going to get her into a major babyface role.
Is there anyone that's thinking that Asuka is like too deranged now? I think like she's at a space where her character has just gone like well beyond remember Io Shirai like snapped over on NXT. And she became the crazy girl, crazy. Anyway, Asuka is, I think, one step above that right now, where she's almost aloof in the ring, and like I'm not really understanding what her character is. She's the Japanese buzzsaw. She's crazy. She can slice you and dice you in that ring.
You know what she is? She's exactly what Vince McMahon wants her to be.
Fair enough. All the Japanese are crazy.
Yes, over the top.
I'm looking on dictionary.com. It's Empress of Tomorrow. That's what she's being. This is the definition of Empress of Tomorrow. Yeah.
Vince McMahon
I didn't know what that meant.
Especially likes his foreign talent to be like over the top and silly, and like her English is coming along, but she still obviously struggles with it. And so, in the absence of being able to give promos, she just dances and screams Japanese gibberish. But it's like one of the most entertaining things ever, and I'm sure it cracks Vince McMahon up. Like, ha!
One thing about Asuka too, she's got like a pretty little look to her, which I really didn't notice before because she was busy killing people in the ring. But now you're looking at her and like, yeah, you know what? I take a stab at that.
You should check out her YouTube page.
Oh dear, I'm afraid my computer will be seized by the FBI. I don't want no part of that.
Like
I'll
naked
leave
eating
that
ramen.
to Mark and Jesse.
Yeah, that's right. We're the naughty ones.
Oh,
right.
boy.
All right. Speaking of 97 matches in a row, Bobby Lashley of The Hurt Business defeated Apollo Crews again for the U.S. Championship.
Again.
These two had a match. It ended mercifully in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. You know, Sheehan and I talked about this when we talked about Payback, about these COVID-era Thunderdome pay-per-views have been really solid in the sense that, like, it's short matches. These are not, like, overly long, 3-hour just epics. Yeah, that you don't even care anymore who wins. You just want it to be over. Like, these hit just the right timing and pitch. And so, again, Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews we've seen 97 times before, but it was less than 10 minutes. If they're going to do it, at least they kept it short. And Bobby Lashley, again, looks, you know, him and Apollo Crews have decent matches, but Bobby Lashley came out looking strong. It looked like he beat Apollo's ass. And I had no complaints about this match, Sheehan.
My only complaint is that we don't stop seeing it, and even the next night on Raw, we're seeing more variations of it. They need to get the Hurt Business away from Apollo and the Jobbers. They need to split them out. Unfortunately, they're going to, but they're going to put them in with friggin' Redemption, or what are they? What
Retribution.
Retribution. Yeah.
By the way, I learned who those people were. I don't know who the one gal is, but the other one was Mercedes Martinez, and one of them is Dominik Dijakovic.
Yeah,
Like
Mia Yim.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't care about Mia Yim, but
the old announcer from Raw too, Dio Madden is one.
Dio
of them.
Madden's the big black dude.
Yeah.
like, really? This is the best.
Yes.
Dominik Dijakovic with 107 matches against Keith Lee. With that look, you're going to cover him up in a ninja outfit.
T-Bar, baby. T-Bar.
Mercedes Martinez. She's such a good wrestler. She's one of the best wrestlers they have. You're gonna make her a ninja? Why?
Yeah. No, I don't understand what they're doing with this. Like, part of me thinks that they had other things in mind for this angle. Like, it almost makes too much sense that they had this mass firing, and then all of a sudden people with masks show up. So I'm thinking, like, maybe it's Eric Young, and maybe it's Rusev, maybe it's these people that they canned, and no, it's just NXT people who are terrorizing them and are rewarded for terrorizing and destroying property with contracts.
You know, what kills me is, like, when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were like, this was in the shadow
You want
of...
a war?
Yeah, this was in the shadow of WCW starting Nitro to begin with, taking shots at the WWE. The WWE, like, returning fire with the Nacho Man and Huckster skits. And it was just kind of going back and forth, and it was really juvenile. And then Scott Hall and Kevin Nash show up on Nitro, and they're like, enough. We are here. We want your three best guys, and we will beat their ass because we are tired of the shit. And that's what made it believable. Like, it came... I mean, granted, they were WCW signed wrestlers. We all know that. But, like, the storyline itself, when they were first implying that they were there on behalf of the WWE because they'd had enough of WCW's bullshit, that's what really made it intriguing. And then Hulk Hogan turns and it kind of changes gears, and now it's, they're their own separate thing, and they just want to destroy the legacy of WCW, which is all well and good. But every time they've tried this since, they've never given the heel faction team a good reason for doing anything they're doing. They tried this with the Nexus, and the Nexus never made any sense. Now they're doing it with Retribution, and Retribution doesn't make any sense either. Like,
So here's why this thing doesn't work. So you got this team. Okay, so you got an outside invading team. All well and good. You got all the bells and the whistles. You got the lights going out. You got the massive attacks. They're destroying rings. They're beating people up. So all the key elements are there. You got your attackers. You got your NWO style. Then they give them contracts. Okay, so now you're contracted
and their own
wrestlers.
light show. Yeah.
Yes, and their own light show. And not only that, so now they still come in through the audience, which makes no sense because you're a contracted wrestler. Now you're in the back, you're actually allowed in the locker room, which is okay, apparently, with the roster that they've just beaten up. Mm-hmm. Then you pair them up against the Hurt Business, who is a heel faction.
Yep.
Which, by the way, you know what? When the Hurt Business music came on and Retribution was in the ring and those guys came out in the suits, man, I popped. I was all over the Hurt Business because I wanted them, Bobby Lashley and the gang, to kick the shit out of Retribution. I could not wait. It was a real Mark moment for me. I was like, yes, kick the shit out of them. And the Hurt Business is so good, man. It's the first black faction that's not, Black Panther, fists in the air. They're like suave businessmen, but they're kicking ass in the ring. You got Cedric Alexander with something actually going on. He's not just flipping and flopping. He's part of the Hurt Business. He's turned heel. But wait a second. Now he's a good guy 1 week later because he got to fight these turkeys in Mortal Kombat gear, the Retribution, which I'm just baffled what they're doing with this storyline. But anyway. Back to this match. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The thing of it is like there's plenty. If they actually gave Retribution a legitimate complaint against the company, talk about the company holding people back. Talk about, there's no creativity in this company. They're giving everyone the COVID. Something like have a legitimate complaint. But from what I understand,
they get contracts right away. So their complaint could have been, we didn't have contracts, but now 3 weeks later they have contracts. So your dispute is over? Maybe? I don't know.
Because even the Nexus had a complaint that they were treated like clowns on that original run of NXT, made to do stupid obstacle course crap, and really just made into things that could have hurt their career. Tripping over kegs and shit. But this is just. I don't understand the logic behind it. I don't understand why are they so mad? I mean, is this like a free ticket for anybody who's mad at WWE to start spray painting shit? I mean, what's going on here?
But not only are they mad, Chris, but now they have new names like T-Bar. Like T-Bar doesn't resonate with anybody. Like, was that T-Bar the guy who fought Keith Lee? We don't know. We don't care. Nobody understands this angle. It is baffling. Anyway, Hurt Business fucking rocks.
Is Dio Madden the same guy who tried to commentate Raw for a couple weeks?
Nobody remembers that guy.
Yeah, I honestly don't. The last thing I'm going to say about this, and then we'll move on to Street Profits and Andrade and Angel.
Speaking of matches we've seen 100 times.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't want the smoke.
The tacit recognition that people, like Miro shows up in AEW and he's, and he takes shots at the WWE, and like everybody that goes to AEW or goes somewhere else has something negative to say. I mean, John Moxley did like a podcast and a half about how frustrating and stifling it was to work at the WWE. It. Yeah, really. You want to talk about butthurt? Like people have legitimate complaints. Retribution. Here's the thing: it's one thing to come out there and like attack wrestlers. They were, as you said, they were taking chainsaws to the ropes. Like, they were destroying sets. They were destroying equipment. This seemed personal against the company.
Didn't they firebomb a generator or something?
Come on.
You're committing terrorist acts against the company. I need there to be a legitimate, like, the night that they came out on Raw and got their names, whatever, and they got their contracts, they should have had Vince McMahon, like, hogtied with an apple in his mouth in the back. Yes. Or they should have, like, beat up Stephanie or Triple H. Like, they should have continued to make this personal against the company. And, and I think it was, like, too soon for them to have, like, fought the Hurt. First of all, I don't know why you have two heel teams fighting each other, but everyone's a heel now. There's no good guys left in wrestling. Everyone's Big Chief.
Everyone owns an island,
and so I get it. It's lesser heel versus greater heel. Fine, whatever. Wrestling's a weird place these days. But I'm just very much stuck on this idea of if you had such a personal thing against it, why would you even want the contracts? I would have been like, we're offering you contracts. We'll take the contract and shove them up your ass. We hate this company. We want to tear it to the ground. Mm-hmm. And they don't.
Yes, but so they don't have a reason to exist. So, do they have a mystery benefactor, a leader who we haven't seen, the shadowy figure who's, running the Retribution? We don't know enough to care at this point.
Yeah. If there was any creativity in this company and there weren't egos involved, it would be Paul Heyman, and this is retribution for being fired.
There you go. That's your ding-ding right there.
But he's Big Chief, or the council, the Big Chief.
Putting food on the table. Taking food on my table. Feed the family.
The head of the table's getting crowded.
The Street Profits, as we said before, defeated Andrade and Angel Guards, this time without the services of Zelina Vega, in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. I mean, at this point, if these two teams have a bad match, after having fought each other 97 times, and they should all be fired or go back to NXT and learn to wrestle. They should know each other really well. They should be having amazing matches.
I think they're common law married at this point. I mean, this is ridiculous. Every damn week. What happened to the Vikings? Did they
one guy's
just
bowling?
injured?
They're bowling.
One guy is hurt, from what I understand.
Oh, okay. So that's why we've moved on to this one. The only notable thing about this match is when my wife walked through the room when Andrade came out, and my wife was born and raised in Mexico, and she says, "Who's Andrade?" I'm like, wife. I'm like, I shouldn't have to tell you this. That's Andrade. And she's like, whatever, and she left. So.
Mumbling something in Spanish.
They can't even please the audience that they're trying to reflect.
Yep.
All right, just tell me, Bailey, what did
What's
you
his
think of
face
this
got
match?
injured, right?
Angel Garza, yes. Angel Garza got injured.
Okay.
This match I've dubbed the Orlando Screwjob, and we're going to be talking about this for years because the Street Profits got a win when Andrade clearly kicked out at the last minute here in this match. Like openly kicked out, and they still counted a 3. So they did their little sequence at the end. You had the wobble and bobble. What's the Street Profit that I hate? Come on, Sheen, you know his name. Dawkins. Mm-hmm. Yes, big fat Dawkins. So anyway, he rolls up, poor old, Angel Garza.
Wait. Why do you hate Angela Dawkins, fam?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he's the guy who stirs the smoke. I should like him better. Yeah, he stirs. I'm doing that right now. You can picture it.
Don't be jealous because he wants the smoke. Okay.
Have we ever figured out what the smoke is yet?
Never say that again.
Do we know what the smoke is yet?
I assume it's a marijuana reference.
That's what I thought too, because they showed an interview from the pre-show before this match, and they said what it all comes down to is we want one thing, the smoke. And I'm like, don't you want your titles, or is the smoke the titles?
Yeah, this is another example of the WWE. The WWE gets the WWE gets stuck on something and they won't let it go, and it's brutal. And so instead of I think, and again, I'm such an old man, but I think about Demolition and the Hart Foundation, and it was they built up this feud, they built up to this title match, and it wasn't just we're two guys in bondage gear and we're two guys in fancy pink outfits, and and they're just doing heart jokes and. They talked about each other. They talked about the tag team titles. They were like, this is, they sounded like real people, as opposed to the Street Profits who just repeat their gimmick ad nauseum, which drives me crazy.
Yes, but you're right. You're talking about Hart Foundation and Demolition. Now, why does that work a lot better, and why do we remember those matches? Because they were special. They weren't on every single episode of Raw. They weren't on every single pay-per-view. We finally got that match on pay-per-view. They might have had an altercation where they did a run-in on Superstars.
That was main event or something, yeah.
Then we did promos. That was all we got. And that match actually meant something by the time we got it. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. So, God bless Road Warrior Animal. He passed away last week. That was cool. Then we got Demolition, who's, always gets paired off as the Road Warrior knockoff. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's why the Demolition were scarier. I want you to put yourself in his shoes now, and the audience at home as well. So you're in a room by yourself. All of a sudden, Bill Eadie and Barry Darsow show up in a low light, covered in oil, in these bondage suits, and they're coming for you. That's fucking scary. I'm telling you right now. Stuff is happening with Demolition. But anyway, like I said, this was beaten to death. I'm surprised they did this again on pay-per-view. Boy, do we need to draft quick to clean this up. I'm telling you right now.
Anything else about the Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza there, Mr. Sheehan?
I'm just so tired of it, and I like you mentioned, Angel Garza is one of my favorites. He's one of my top picks for future star here, but it's almost a blessing that he's going to be off the grid for a little bit, because that means this feud can go away for a little while. Because
God.
Damn it, too much.
Isn't that like the pattern? Is like they do the same match until somebody gets hurt, and then they change
That's
things
it.
up.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. All right, so Bayley came out, and I guess Nia Jax and Nikki Cross and Shayna Baszler all got axed from the card. I think somebody may have got the COVID. I don't know what all the details were, but the three of them were not medically cleared. So Bayley's out of match, and then we lost the tag team match between, what would have been a win for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler over the Riot Squad.
Downplay the COVID. We're not like you Floridian savages who, just opening the economy willy-nilly.
Hey, we're in phase 3, man. Basically,
it's abundance of caution.
Basically, it's over now. There's no more pandemic. Just everyone with your dick out. Let's go. No more masks.
I love it.
Welcome to Florida, baby. Woo! COVID schmovid. You were saying, sir.
Was I?
Okay, no.
Saying.
Okay. Anyway, so the three girls got taken off the card. So they gave Bayley something to do. She came out there and she did a promo. She was like, "Here, open challenge," and then Asuka did double duty. But then, Bayley ended up retaining her title by disqualification. And then what's her face? Sasha Banks ran in, and they had another beatdown. And then, Bayley powdered out and ran away. What can one say about Bayley? She's like the best female heel they've got right now. She's so darn entertaining. I could watch her do a silly promo at any time and always be entertained by it. I had a good laugh at this. I was hoping they weren't going to be stupid and put the other belt on Asuka. I was like, oh, like Bayley's the best thing they have going in the women's division. Don't ruin this. Like you ruin everything else, WWE. So this was not really a match. This was kind of an angle. Bayley, you got anything to say about it?
So clearly, the reason that that they're breaking these girls up, they got the split coming up with the whole draft thing. So I got a funny feeling both of these ladies, Bayley and Sasha, are going to end up on different brands. I got a funny feeling, but Bayley Bayley is definitely missing the best friend. So, I think she needs somebody to play off. That's when she's at her best because her stuff with Sasha was so good. You know what I mean? She had somebody to play off. She was comfortable with. And this one, she seemed, to me, a little bit off, a little bit distant. Now, I know they're piecemeal in a match because this was originally supposed to be Nikki Cross. But, having Asuka fill in here was kind of weird and kind of awkward. I thought right away that they were just going to put Asuka over and choke the girl out. But, then they just had, I think the original intention was Nikki Cross was supposed to come in, Bayley was going to get disqualified, and Sasha was supposed to beat her down with the stick. So they just put Asuka basically was a placeholder here. So no harm, no foul, inoffensive. I'm okay with it.
I assume we're going to get a Bayley Sasha match at either Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series.
Yeah, it'll be a blow-up.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see what happens. Anything else about this one, Sheehan?
Just a total waste. In the words of a certain Oompa Loompa, both companies have a running sloppy shops right now, right? So we're not getting the matches that are advertised. But I mean, what's the harm of making Bayley look strong going into a match with Sasha? Why didn't they have some job girl come in and have her squash her? I don't see all it did was make Asuka look like an idiot because she can't get a clean win over Bayley. Every single time Bayley weasels her way out, which makes her look like the chicken shit heel, but this isn't going to pay off in a match with Asuka. So what's the point?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And when she issued the open challenge, my mind first went to the rumored to be returning Melina. I was like, oh, is this how they're going to do that?
That would have been great.
Yeah, but they did not. I thought it would be a good thing just to pull some, a girl from NXT or a girl from the Performance Center, have Bayley just squash her in a couple minutes, have her celebrate, then have Sasha come out and beat the crap out of her. Just, have her get a little too high on her horse and then, go into storyline mode.
Why not send Katie Catanzaro out there? She's all of she's 2 feet tall.
Yep.
And Bayley could have easily, crushed her. And unless you watch NXT, you barely even know or American Gladiator, you barely even know who this woman is.
Sure, and even if you want to have her cheat to win just because she's a dastardly heel, that's fine, but just have her win, decisively.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's hard for WWE to put anyone over strong. You either have to be like a clown
or related to the McMahon family.
Yeah, that seems to be the only modes or Big Chief.
But here's the thing, Mark. Think about this. So I'm going to go back to the NWA playbook. So a Bill Watts era booking. So and hold on with me with this one for a second. So you're building toward.
Rope, damn it.
Yeah, you're building a match. So say for example you got Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. So Dusty Rhodes, he's plowing through all kinds of contenders. He's having big matches against Barry Windham. He's beating people. He's getting in line for that shot for the World Championship. Okay. Meanwhile, Flair is not looking weak, so they're not pulling a Bailey with him. So they have him on TV against mid-carders and, second-tier jobbers, basically. But he's going over strong. He's going over with the figure four. He's dominating. Then he's getting on the mic and he's bad-mouthing. You know what I mean? He's not being a chicken shit. So right now, you got the champion on TV and he's boasting. He's beating people with the figure four. He's kicking the crap. He's ready for Dusty Rhodes. So you got two people who are on their game, and you're actually looking forward to this contest because you're like, oh, man, two of these guys are going to have a great match. You know what I mean? Here, you don't get that. You got Bayley, who's the chicken shit heel. You had Sasha, who was the chicken shit heel as well with her. And now all of a sudden she's got this – now she's not a chicken shit. Now she's, coming for Bayley. I mean, this is broken booking. Like Bill Watts has just got his head down, wiping the sweat from his brow here now, complaining about black people.
Peeing out the 10th story window.
Right. Speaking of brutal matches, Drew McIntyre and friends defeated Randy Orton in an ambulance match. I don't love this whole story, but I'm not gonna discredit it by saying it wasn't at least well told, because at least, over the course of weeks they had Randy Orton beat up people, and then they paid it off by everybody came back to beat up Randy Orton and help Drew McIntyre retain his title. I mean, in the meantime, there were some cool things. Drew McIntyre kicking the door off the ambulance was cool looking.
Beautiful.
There was some good use of the ambulance. I thought the stuff in catering, looked pretty brutal actually. The way he slid into the table and everything, like none of that looked comfortable. Me, neither one of these guys really does it for me, but they seem to have beaten each other up really well. And they had an entertaining match, and it was funny to see Big Show, Christian, and Shawn Michaels. The Shawn Michaels one actually annoyed me because you could clearly see that Randy Orton fell onto a crash pad.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, of course.
But whatever. What are you going to do? Kill Randy Orton? I could see Shawn Michaels agreeing to do it.
They didn't handcuff a ladder to his ear and throw him off that thing. How come? What's up?
Yeah, really.
Slackers.
So, Sheehan, this one was fine. Again, it's hard for me to get too excited because I hate both guys, but
yeah,
they had a pretty brutal match.
What was it I just said about Bayley? Why can't they make the champion look strong? We have Drew McIntyre, who is our champion, who, despite his opponent being chokeslammed through a table, beaten up backstage, super kicked and thrown off the top of an ambulance, Drew McIntyre still struggles to beat him. It looked like at any time Randy could have won. Randy almost did win at the very end, after getting his ass kicked by Hall of Famers. It's like, what? How does this make Drew McIntyre look strong? Why would this make me cheer for Drew McIntyre? Because it looks like Randy got robbed. And it just feels like...
Why did Drew McIntyre need the NWO to beat up Randy Orton?
And just barely. And just barely. It doesn't do anybody any favors. It actually makes Randy look stronger than anybody because he nearly pulled out the win after getting his ass kicked by a bunch of outside interference. I don't think this did anything for Drew. It made him look like a geek. And the next night on Raw, where he comes out and thanks everyone for helping him win, was even like the cherry on the shit sundae.
Absolute mind-boggling.
Oh, it's so dumb. And I'm a guy who likes Drew, and I can tolerate Orton, but I came out of this really sympathizing with Randy Orton, which I don't think was the intention. And this was just really bad.
Doesn't Randy Orton now deserve a rematch, seeing as Drew McIntyre had all this help?
No doubt. He should just be handed the damn belt. It's it was so stupid. And the fact that some of it was cute. When the Big Show came out with a mask and it's like, who is that 7-foot man? The 7-foot bald man, and he pulls the mask off with that big cheesy smile. It's like, oh, it's him. Oh, wow. I thought that was funny. But other than that, I mean, you stack the deck so high against Randy, and he still almost wins. He's the babyface here. I just don't get it.
I can't look at the Big Show the same anymore since this won't mean anything to you, Sheehan, but he had a sitcom on Netflix for 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, I heard about that, yeah.
The Big Show
Big Show.
And it talks about, it's like based on his real life, and it talks about, him being home from the road and having to reconnect with his daughters. And like now every time I see the Big Show, I'm like, why aren't you home with your daughters? Go be with your daughters.
He's an instant heel now because he's ignoring his family.
That's right. Like, you retired, go home. Your daughters need you. Your wife needs you. Bailey, what'd you think of McIntyre and Friends versus Orton?
Well, this is just another chapter in the story of Drew McIntyre's lame-ass title reign. And I think they're actually going somewhere with this. Because ever since he won the title at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar before no crowd. So, he's been struggling every single match to, basically get acceptance. He's never the crown jewel of the show. Like, here he is. He's not even the main event. You know what I mean? Almost every show, even the ones that he's supposed to be headlining, he's always the second to last match. So he's always like the stepchild. He's the Chris Benoit champion when you think about his positioning on the card. So, and every single time he struggled with like Dolph Ziggler on pay-per-view. He struggles here with Randy Orton, and he's got like a cast of characters, including the decrepit Shawn Michaels, who should never be within the hemisphere of a television set anymore. This guy is, I think he died. I think he's actually reborn, like on X-Laps, like he's born out of an egg, and it's just some mutant Shawn Michaels that we're seeing here. But I know what you mean. But here's the one thing that I did like about this. So think about the build up to this entire thing. So the build up to this match, everything that Orton's done, he's attacked all these legends. So this is like the bow. This is the cherry on the sundae where all the legends come back, get the revenge. Even Ric Flair is waiting in the driver's seat of the ambulance and doing his woo as he carries Randy Orton off. You know what I mean? So I see the purpose of it, but this does nothing for Drew McIntyre and his reign, and it's a real shame because I think there's something there, but they're doing nothing to make this guy strong, and they're just murdering his career as far as I'm concerned. This belt got to come off McIntyre quick.
And this wasn't the blow-off. This wasn't the blow-off match. On Raw, Randy struck again. We're still doing this.
I guarantee you it's going to be the two of them at Hell in a Cell.
Oh, yeah.
In the Hell in a Cell.
Oh, because we need that.
All right. Now we get to my favorite match of the night. First of all, Big Chief.
Big Chief.
I have never been a fan of Roman Reigns. Even as part of the Shield, I was like, you're the powerbomb guy. Please don't talk. You're so pretty. Please never talk. And then, they Vince McMahon fell in love with Roman Reigns and pushed him, and of course everyone booed him. I always thought Roman Reigns as a face never worked. Roman Reigns is a natural heel. First of all, he has, as Sheehan calls it, punchable face. Like, you just look at him and wow, you're a giant douchebag. Yes. Roman Reigns just exudes douchebag. I don't want to cheer for him. I want to boo him, and he's hilarious as a heel. Again, they never know when to stop with anything, so this was overdone. But it was kind of like a Family Guy joke, where it's you go past the point where it's funny, and you go so far it becomes funny again. That's kind of what happened here with this, where they gave Jey Uso a chance while they figure out what actual main event talent they have on SmackDown or what they're going to draft over from Raw. But it was a great way of making bringing Roman Reigns full heel because, up to this point, wearing shirts that say wreck everyone and leave and, the showing up for the last 2 minutes of a match and then capturing the title, it's against Braun Strowman and The Fiend. Nobody, we're fine with it.
Yeah, they didn't even show up this week. So.
We're okay with it. That doesn't make you a heel. You're saving us from The Fiend and Braun Strowman. So this match and Jey Uso's performance actually made Roman Reigns such a dick. He's such a heel in this match. And although we've been making fun of it all show, I kind of like the fact that through the whole thing, he's Like, say my name, basically. Like, acknowledge that that I'm your superior. I'm the big chief. I'm this. I'm that. He's like narrating the entire match like he's Jerry the King Lawler.
And I like that though. I like that aspect.
Yeah, it's great. And Jey Uso, for his credit, like, I've never been a huge fan of the Usos, but he had a lot of like babyface fire, and he was selling like Ricky Morton, and he had some hope spots in there, and he wouldn't give up, and his brother had to come out. And I tell you, this was my favorite part of the match. His brother's like, "You're the big chief, just leave him alone." And like his voice was cracking. It's like, "Just leave him alone," and it was great. Like, I was
the big chief.
You're the big chief, just leave him alone. I was like in tears. I was like, "Oh my god." I loved it. I'm such a cynical wrestling fan, and so much of it I piss on. I could not have been more engaged in this match, and especially the ending with Jimmy Uso like jumping on his brother. I'm like, just leave him alone. Oh, just leave him alone. Oh, it's so good. And then like demanding Paul Heyman put the lay on him and all of that. Oh my god, this is pro wrestling. Like, yes. WWE fails to do pro wrestling so much. This is exactly what I wanted. And it's like, move for move, they hardly didn't do anything. Like, there was a lot of punching going on and very real actual like wrestling. But who cares? They told this really awesome story in this match, and they finished it with such emotion. I was like, I don't even like. Bailey and I review the AEW shows, and it's a lot of flip-flop and fly and gymnastics. And, as Bailey knows, I can't even follow the matches half the time. Like this, I was engaged the whole time, and they hardly did anything. This was great.
You nailed it right there. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You can keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so storytelling. So this is what's separating WWE right now. So they've reduced the times on their pay-per-views to an acceptable level where you're not unconscious, or waking up the next morning with the pay-per-view still going. You know what I mean? So you're at a perfect level. And now you've gone into detailed storytelling, which I really, really do like. So we talked about the Orton match before, but take a look at it. They wrapped it up with a nice little bow. They had a story. They had build. This was a great build here for Uso and Reigns. Now, you can say what you want about Uso not deserving a championship. I mean, he's a tag team wrestler and a pretty damn good one. You know what I mean? Plus, he's the Marty Jannetty of the two between Jimmy and Jay. So you sort of got Marty Jannetty taking on the Shawn Michaels here. But I really thought it was cool. Roman Reigns came out, so he's got a different look. The vest is gone. He's got, his top body's exposed. He's got that giant rock-like shoulder tattoo. You know what we're building to here? We're building to Rock versus Roman. That's coming. I'm telling you right now, that's what all this, feeding the family, taking food off my table, that's what all this jazz is all about, is that inevitable match against The Rock. And I think that Roman Reigns is at the peak of where he should be character-wise. Take a look at the subtle things he's doing with Paul Heyman. So he's not sucking up to Paul or letting Paul dominate him. No, he's sort of there at a convenience. Like he allows him to be in his space. So he doesn't bite on everything. He's not like Lesnar, who just laughs, chuckles in the background, and lets Heyman take over the show. Oh no, Reigns is just being the douchebag who allows Heyman to get him his matches and set things up for him and that type of stuff. But he's not impressed with Paul Heyman. And he's beating the crap out of one of his own family members, too. He's narrating during the match, and I love that aspect. He's talking about it, you're not at my level. You're trying to level up, and you're never going to be at that level. Like, it's these conversations what a difference. And like Mark said, he's not doing a hell of a lot in this match. He's kicking the crap out of him, but it's methodical. He's just beating the piss out of Jey Uso here, and it just works. He got a couple hope spots at the end where Jey thought he was going to, pull off the big upset over Roman Reigns, but then Roman shuts his ass down. Boom, game over.
And he's so entitled when it happens. Like, anytime Jey Uso came back, he was like, how dare you? Just lay down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Lay down and take your beating.
It's so good. Like they've taken everything that the fans have crapped on his character, and they just let him go full steam with it. No, just be you, man. Just be Roman. That's your character.
Yeah,
loved it. I love this match.
Yeah, this was easily like the best match of the night, and it's so funny because like nobody. I think Jay did a couple of dives, but for the most part, this wasn't a gymnastics routine. This was like hardly a wrestling match. This was just like a beatdown.
was a beatdown.
Chris, take me home, baby doll.
Oh, this was just a wonderful match, and the build to it on the last few episodes of SmackDown. I haven't watched SmackDown as it was on, but I did make sure to seek out the bits between Jay and Roman because they've just been so amazingly strong.
Nice and subtle.
Oh yeah, until the last one, which is the way it's supposed to go. I mean, these two gave such impassioned promos where. Like Jay is almost in tears talking about how much higher up Roman is on the pecking order, and he talks about like when he's at the airport and people see him, they say, "Which one are you?" I mean, so many just nuanced things that fed into this match, and it made Jay wildly sympathetic, and like you were pulling for him. Even though I'm loving heel Roman, I love him with the belt. Give him all the belts. He's just doing awesome. It made you want to root for Jay, even though there was absolutely no chance. Every hope spot meant something. Jay did that that sort of hoist Samoan drop to Roman, and it's like for half a second you're like, holy shit, he might
could
do
pull
it.
this off.
It was just so well done. It was so old school. A real throwback, just something that we don't see anymore. And like you guys said, this wasn't a scientific classic. This wasn't an aerial event. This was a storyline, punchy punch beatdown, and it was just amazing. Roman talking during the match, just talking shit during the match. Amazing stuff. It took me back to like Mark Henry's Hall of Pain days, where he would just be talking shit at his opponent, like you really think you belong in the ring with me? Excellent stuff here. On a meta level, like you guys said, they are giving him free reign to be what the fans have thought he is. Just a giant douche, and he's pulling it off just so well. The ending with Jimmy throwing in the towel, perfect, because it doesn't hurt Jay. Jay didn't give up. Jay didn't get pinned. Not that I'm thinking that they're going to build to another match, but that wasn't the point of this match. This was after 8 years. This was Roman's ascension. We've been building to Roman's ascension, main eventing WrestleMania after WrestleMania after WrestleMania. His ascension was this match.
You know what's amazing about that is like The Undertaker was supposed to put him over. All these people were supposed to put him over.
Yep.
Brock Lesnar. The guy that finally gets Roman Reigns over, Jey Uso.
Yep.
Boom. Yep.
And
when you're
worked.
not looking for it, you'll find it. So, I love the relationship between Roman and Heyman. Like you guys said, Heyman looks to be like he's got this different sort of awe in his eyes around Roman than he does with Brock. With Brock, you could tell, as a character, it's a business relationship. With Roman, you can see that Heyman feels very, very happy to have the opportunity, and Roman is just letting him do what he doesn't want to do, which is get him the matches, get him what he needs, get him the contracts. Perfect relationship between these two. They don't necessarily need to be joined at the hip, like Brock and Heyman. Just I could go on forever repeating myself about how great this was, but this made Roman. This put Jey Uso on a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
This match helped everyone involved, and it's very, very rare we can say something like that.
I need Roman Reigns to be. I mean, I'm assuming they'll leave the title on him up till WrestleMania, and WrestleMania will probably be him and The Rock. Mm-hmm. I need Roman Reigns to go on a path of destruction. Just just continue this. Like don't have him wrestle all that much on SmackDown. It's not have him appear in backstage segments or whatever, or interview segments, but keep his wrestling to a minimum. Like it's beneath him. Have him show up for the big shows, and just just keep talking that shit. Nobody can beat me. I'm better than all of you. I have been better than all of you. I'm the future of this company. Just keep that up. And other than The Rock, I don't think they'll put The Rock over Roman Reigns. But
no, it'd be the
I
big
hope
mistake.
not. Yeah.
But is there anybody on either roster? I'll go to Bailey first, and then Sheehan will be the last question of the night. Is there anybody on either roster that you can see as the hero that can save the world from Roman Reigns? Because I'm struggling to come up with a single person that has that we'd want to see beat Roman Reigns and save us from him and his obnoxiousness?
There is really nobody that stands out to me right now. I mean, you do not have. This is part of the problem. You don't have that marquee babyface who's out there, who the crowd is taken to. You don't have your John Cena, and maybe you should bring John Cena back to lose to this guy. You know what I mean? Maybe that's your answer. Maybe kicking the crap out of a few legends. Maybe kicking the crap out of the rest of the Usos or whoever you got there. I mean, Path of Destruction is absolutely required. Which brand will he be on after the brand split? We don't know. I'm hoping that he stays on SmackDown because it seems like that's where they're hanging their hat. It seems like Raw has actually become, displaced to number 2, believe it or not, when it comes to the pecking order. So I'm really excited about this guy, but there's nobody right now that really stands out to me. And like I said, unless you bring back a legend, unless you pull someone out of the woodworks. But I don't know. Maybe Cena is that guy to come back and just have a small program with him and have, Reigns mess him up. Do you bring Daniel Bryan back? What do you do?
What do you think, Sheehan?
Well, I can give you my answer and what I think the WWE is going to do's answer. My answer is I can't think of a single person to come back and do this.
How about Mark's favorite, Samoa Joe?
Well, you never know. But I mean, you could see a Cena if he does.
I could see Roman Reigns just beating the shit out of Samoa Joe. I'm a real Samoan. You ain't shit. You're so right. Stop hitting
Samoan
me.
In wrestling, not part of the family. But I think what WWE is going to do, and I almost get a little bit of vomit in the back of my throat thinking of it, I think we're in for a Fiend face turn.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, here I gave it some thought.
I feel bad for putting that in the universe, but
and I know it's a heel group, but I think they could pull this off. I think after Roman Reigns has laid waste to both rosters, and there's nobody left to save us from a Roman Reigns that's gone just absolutely berserk, only one man can stand up to Roman Reigns. Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, he's too. Arizona Sunrise.
Boom! Come on.
Oh.
All 4
we'll have to
feet
wait
of
for crowds to come back. Otherwise, we'll have the piped-in Cole, baby.
All 4 feet of Adam Cole versus 8 feet of Roman Reigns. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, man, that'd be like Zelina Vega versus Asuka. Same thing.
Will the entire Undisputed Era stand on each other's shoulders with a trench coat? That might do it.
Adam Cole just standing on top of Kyle O'Reilly.
Is there anybody in NXT that you might bring up just for a light tussle around the mat for a month or two against Roman Reigns?
No, I'll tell you what.
Keith Lee, baby. Keith Lee. Mark's favorite. Keith Lee. Big fat
Maybe
Keith
Finn
Lee.
Balor. Maybe Finn Balor.
I got one better for you. How about, Ciampa said he doesn't want to go on the main roster because he doesn't want to go on the road. But right now there's no road to go on. So I think if they talk to Ciampa and be like, you don't have to go any further than the Amway Center, you'll live. I think they could bring Ciampa up for a short run with because Ciampa has nothing left to do in NXT, and I think Ciampa, because he's made to be such a badass on NXT, I think a run with him and Roman Reigns would be a lot of fun.
How about this? Think about this for a second. So we're not afraid of heel versus heel and all that stuff. So you got a brand roster split. Now think about somebody who makes a difference in Roman Reigns' life. So think about who he spent his entire first part of his journey in WWE with. Seth fucking Rollins.
No.
Can you imagine?
Suddenly the Fiend is looking better.
Yes, I agree. But think about it. If they're going to do a Fiend face turn, then what's the whole idea behind this Alexa Bliss crap?
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, I know.
Who knows? Maybe she'll take all the evil out of him.
Maybe that should be the feud, then Alexa Bliss versus Roman Reigns.
There we go. Be as believable as Adam Cole.
Baby. Boom. All right, speaking of boom, that does it for our review of Clash of the Champions. Christian, what do you got going on in your world?
Oh, lots of stuff. Today is the last day of September, which makes it so I actually podcasted every single day throughout the month of September. So nothing really to be proud of.
She's taking you out.
It's nothing really to be proud of, but it's something I did, and I'm happy I did it. Much of that has been X-Lapsed, which is my look at the current run of the X-Men books every single day that something else isn't going on, which includes things like Morituri Mondays, which me and Bailey are getting close to the end of the proper series of Strikeforce Morituri over at chrisandreggie.podbean.com. There's also something new every day at chrisisoninfiniteearths.com. Starting to do some subdomains because I realize that my domains allows me to do that. And, after about 5 years, didn't even know it. So there are subdomains getting populated with various things. And you can find me on the Twitter machine at Ace Comics.
All right, Bailey, tell them what you got.
Oh, man, I cannot wait to tell you guys about what's going on Morituri Monday. So myself and Sheehan have been teasing the Marvel artist for Strikeforce Morituri, Mr. Brent Anderson, for basically 30-plus episodes. We've been just teasing that, hey, we'd like to ask him this question. So we did. We had a little Q&A over email. But now in the final episode of, Strikeforce Morituri proper, we're cluing up the regular series, the man himself will be on the show to answer our questions. That's right. LIVE live on the air, Mr. Brent Anderson, the Strikeforce Morituri artist for the initial 20 issues of that book, will be on, and he'll be chatting it up with me and Chris. And boy, do we got lots of other stuff in the tank ready to spring on you. We got Quester Days, the Elf Quest podcast, ready to hit the airwaves. We got some, a little other 80s little splash about a universe that we might want to talk about a little
I'm
bit.
seeing white.
I'm seeing the white event is about to hit. Oof. Heavens.
And I'm looking at my window, too. So what is that?
The podcast outside your window. Who knows what that's going to be? But we got lots of irons in the fire. And, man, I can't wait to get that Brent Anderson interview out to you guys. So, lots going on. And I'm hanging out with Sheehan over there and hanging out with the Podsmen here for wrestling. So I'm loving the pod life here, folks.
All right, the next time we will all be getting together to review wrestling will be a week from yesterday, a week from Tuesday. October 6th, we'll be looking at NXT TakeOver 31. Woo! Because it's the 31st TakeOver. Get it?
Oh, man.
Wait, how did we
put that together?
The fuck? How did we go from, In Your House and Triple X and 31? Because we've run out of ideas.
Well, if you've seen the card, it looks like they really have run out of ideas.
Kyle O'Reilly in that main event, baby.
Oy.
Kyle! No.
But they are hinting that a former NXT champion will be showing up to regulate. So don't know who that's going to be. I'm not sure I care, but I thought it was going to be Bobby Roode, but it looks like it won't be him.
Well, we'll talk all about it October 6th for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, myself and Christian, he bailed me out of a jam, good guy that he is. We talked about Stars and Stripes, the first 6 issues of that series by Jeff Johns. And then Al Sedano came on TV Party, and we talked the CW show Stargirl. Tonight, Jesse Starcher and I will review the BPMD album, American Made, which is all covers. And then tomorrow, myself and Andrew Graham will review the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can check out all that's in the archive. Last week we did Punisher, The Platoon, Kingdom, and cover your ears and your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. I reviewed Cuties, Mignons. Yes, I did. I was bad.
They're coming. That don't answer that knock on the door, Mark. They're coming for that computer. They're seizing you. You're done.
And these are those easy peel oranges, those little clementines, right?
That is correct.
Cool. I don't know how you talk about that for very long, but more power to you.
We had a raucous caucus. That's what we did. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us here on TV Party tonight in our review of Clash of the Champions for the Podsmen. Be well, be safe, and behave.